Hey guys, Manu here, and before I jump into this video, I just want to ask you guys to give me the HBO special, and that is the Help a Brother Out, and you can do that by hitting the subscribe button and leaving a like under this video. It helps out a lot. I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to do that. Guys, this year is a make or break year for the Los Angeles Clippers. NBA season started last night, and with that, there is a whole lot of teams to watch out for and a whole lot of storylines to watch out for, but none so more than the Los Angeles Clippers. So I'm just gonna come out and say it. The Los Angeles Clippers have been just as big or a bigger disappointment than their city mate, the Los Angeles Lakers. And in the current state that the Los Angeles Lakers find themselves in, that is really saying something. If you watched the Lakers last night, that is saying a lot. And the reason I'm saying they're a disappointment is for so many reasons. The Clippers have become such a disappointment. Because if we take a stroll down memory lane to about 3 years ago when Kawhi Leonard arrived in Los Angeles immediately became the basketball hub of the world. If you wanted top-tier basketball, you went to Los Angeles. If you wanted drama, you went to Los Angeles. Why? Because you had the Battle of LA. You had the Lakers with LeBron and Anthony Davis on it, and you had Kawhi Leonard and Paul George on the Clippers. That is so dramatic that Hollywood couldn't even write it, even though they're a skip and a hop away from Hollywood. and you had the added cherry on top of the battle between LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard, who is the best player in the world. You have to remember, at this time, Giannis Antetokounmpo wasn't regarded as the best player in the world yet, and Kawhi Leonard was just coming off of a championship win, and LeBron was still youthful. He was still really good. But in all honesty, for the amount of hype that these two teams got, they have disappointed greatly. They've disappointed so much when you consider the amount of talent that they've had on their roster. But I mean, just think about it. The Lakers right now have Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James. The Clippers have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. 3 years ago, those guys were considered the top 10 in the league. And in the 4 years that LeBron has been in Los Angeles, the Lakers have been so disappointing. In the 4 years that LeBron's been in Los Angeles, the Lakers only have a bubble ring to show for. A bubble ring that they were able to get because they got 4 months off in 2020 and were in a bubble. And the Clippers haven't fared better at all, right? Because in that same time frame, in the 3 years that Kawhi has been in Los Angeles, the Clippers really have less to show for. They've got no championship ring in that period of time. They've been the center of controversy because their superstar, Kawhi Leonard, will literally not play games because of load management. He misses more games because of all the injuries that he's had in that time frame. So he barely plays. Also, they've had a string of mediocre playoff runs in which they've lost to teams they should have clearly beaten. And to be honest, it's just really sad to see how these two LA teams panned out, considering what hopes we had for them. I personally feel like we were robbed of a great rivalry that could have spurred in Los Angeles. And I think I'm not the only one, right? And I think because of that, this year, if the Clippers roster manages to stay healthy, it is going to be finals or bust for them. Even if they don't remain healthy, even if somehow Kawhi Leonard or Paul George doesn't remain healthy, I think it's still a bust. I think this is the final year for this core. Why? Because at some point, you have to cut your losses and move on. Their owner, Steve Ballmer, has invested so much money into this team and expects a lot out of this team and hasn't gotten his return on investment yet, right? This guy literally put up money for the Clippers to get a new arena with the city of Los Angeles. Kawhi Leonard was going to be the face of this franchise. He's always nowhere to be seen on the court. And with a guy like Steve Ballmer, a go-getter, you would think that he doesn't really have much patience for this team. If a fan, really just feels annoyed by the Clippers, imagine what the owner thinks, right? And this team has just had a ton of disappointments, failures. One of the biggest failures was, I think a few years ago in the playoffs where they had Doc Rivers as a head coach, and they ended up, I think they blew like a 3-1 lead. They blew a 3-1 lead in the playoffs, and it just was very disappointing, and Doc Rivers ended up getting fired because they lost in the playoffs, and with the amount of talent they had, it was just it was unprecedented. And so if they don't get to the finals this year, the team will get blown up. And when that happens, Kawhi Leonard's decision making, his behavior, will all come into question. His decision making, because the decision for him to leave Toronto to go to Los Angeles will come into question, because when you consider that in Toronto he had everything. He had a perfect head coach in Nick Nurse, a perfect GM in Masai Ujiri, a perfect surrounding cast with Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, and Fred VanVleet. And instead of remaining on the team, he decided to go to Los Angeles, which was very unprecedented. I mean, he was at the top of the world. He won a championship and he left. That has never happened ever before in the history of the NBA, in which a superstar wins a championship then leaves in free agency. So that will come into question, and it will become kind of like the Kevin Durant and Golden State Warriors situation, in which Kevin Durant's whole decision to leave the Warriors came into question when he opted to leave Golden State to go to Brooklyn and ended up getting swept in the first round of the playoffs, and simultaneously his previous team, the Golden State Warriors, won a championship that same year. He looked like a total clown, while Stephen Curry and the Warriors looked like champs and just geniuses, right? So Kawhi Leonard will be in the same boat. And then his behavior will also come into question, because people will now ask, was it worth it to sit out games? Did he deserve to sit out games, right? People paid their hard-earned money to come see Kawhi Leonard, and he didn't play, and he has nothing to show for it. All that load management literally did nothing. You have nothing to show for. So that will come into question. The Clippers open up their season tomorrow night against their city mates, the Los Angeles Lakers, and that will be a great litmus test for them this season, because they can't beat the Lakers. That's a red flag, considering how the Lakers played last night against the Golden State Warriors, and a lot of questions will be answered. We'll finally get to see John Wall play with Kawhi and Paul George, and to see if they fit. This team just, I think they are the most, them and the Brooklyn Nets have the most pressure to be successful this year, because it is win or go home. It is win or go home. It is win or bust, right? And so tune in to the NBA and tune in to this channel as I follow the NBA and make commentary and have the hottest takes on YouTube. You can do that by hitting the subscribe button and leaving a like. And aside from that, see you later, kids.